Welcome to this episode of Pause for Peace with me, Pastor Jule. Last week, if you were looking for the release of Pause for Peace, you missed it because it never happened. However, I hope that you took a chance instead to check out our Conversations for Peace, our monthly series that's a part of this podcast, found on the same platforms, same channel, our monthly series in which I sit down with somebody who's either a partner in ministry with Hillwood Presbyterian Church or somebody I'm just longing to have a conversation with, one that can be listened in so that others might also know the way that these individuals make a difference in their world, wherever they might be in this world. And last week was our first international guest. So excited about that opportunity. A longtime friend of mine, Delmarie Brownridge, who is actually an amazing teacher doing a really cool thing in South Australia. So even if you are not all that interested in Conversations for Peace, just check them out now and again. You can listen to them in smaller segments. You can break them up, listen to them 15 minutes at a time if you need to throughout the month, go back to them again and get a little taste of how a whole variety of people are making their contribution to the world, how they are, whether or not it seems like they're doing any kind of work that has anything whatsoever to do with the cause of peace, how anybody does their work, makes their contribution, lives their vocation in this world with a centeredness, with a groundedness, with an open heart, how any one of us do that, no matter the work that we do. We are able to further peace in this world. So check out Conversations for Peace. Today, this episode of Pause for Peace is being released here in these early days of November. In the early days of November, we actually, as like a global body, historically have paused in order to recognize, either because there's a felt sense or perhaps because we live in places in the world where we are experiencing that letting go of autumn and soon moving into the days of the dying that comes in winter, the whole world around us seeming to go into hibernation, into dormancy, to die so that new things can be born in the spring. Or perhaps we are a part of a culture that has a long tradition of celebrating the days of the dead. This is a time where we have noticed that the veil between the worlds is so very thin. So breaking that down a little bit, hopefully you realize that the physical realm where we live, this earth, is not the only realm, the only plane of existence. Quantum physics helps us understand this just a little bit, and many of us understand this because of what takes place in our dream world, or maybe even in our meditations. There seems to be other beings that might come and interact with us. And long has there been an understanding of this variety of realms, the variety of the realms of the dead and the realms of the living, those who have physically lived in this earth and those who now are alive in some other way, some other place, some have said. But the place is so thin. In fact, there is a beautiful book by Cynthia Bourget called The Eye of the Heart, which is all about the imaginal realm, which is not a realm of imagination. It's the realm of image. It's the realm that is activated when we're meditating, when we are having visions, when we are sleeping. It's the realm that is just beyond the logical kind of reasoning place. It's hard to grasp all of this. But forever, we have noticed as human beings that we're not alone in this realm. There are others around us. And there's celebrations that take place during Days of the Dead, either to call upon the dead and ask them for their help or protection, or maybe even to do things like have humongous bonfires to keep away any of the dead that we think might have died in torture, or even in traditions like in the Christian religious tradition. When we celebrate those who have actually gone before us. The church in the Western world, the Roman Catholic Church, chose this season because of these ancient traditions of honoring the dead and recognizing the dead and paying attention to the veil being so thin. The Western world in the Roman Catholic Church chose this time to put a holiday right there, November 1st, All Saints' Day. And in the Roman Catholic Church, in order to become a saint, there needs to be some measurable data, if you will. There has to be reports of miracles and contributions that have happened through healings and ways that saints have made a significant difference in the lives of others. In the Protestant world, in the part of the church in the Western world that stepped away from the early understandings of Christianity and had a bit of a reform, a protest, if you will, in the early 16th century. The Protestant tradition has said that we're all saints there, and we celebrate all saints. We don't just set aside a certain folk that have been declared saints by the Pope. We say that all who have been faithful followers, the martyrs, the apostles, your mom and dad, whoever it might have been, they're all a part of the souls or the saints that we celebrate at this time. It has me thinking about a way that we might actually seek to commune with one person right now. And in a meditative practice today, I'm going to invite us into a time of actually focusing upon the life of somebody from your own experience. This may be a grandparent who has passed away. It might be a teacher who made a significant difference in your life. I'm going to invite you to start with somebody who you have fond affection for. But this podcast can be rewound and you can do this practice again with anybody, maybe even somebody who has passed away where there needs to be some repair between the two of you that never was repaired in this realm on the earth when they were alive. And so it might be somebody you want to spend some time with in that way, doing this meditation. But I'm going to invite us today to choose one person from our life, one individual, preferably somebody that we have known over the years. But in the quiet, somebody else might come to you, another face might come to you, another name might come to you. And I'm going to lead us through a little process in which we can truly get to the saintliness of that person. I hear sometimes at funerals, memorial services, like, why do they only say good things about people after they die? Because, you know, all of us are a mixed bag. We're all, as one of my friends says, we're all sinners and souls. We're like all mixed up together, sinners and saints. Each one of us makes mistakes. Each one of us has a quirk of our personality. Each one of us has something about us that has really messed up. Something about us that drives our loved ones crazy. Each one of us do. But each one of us also has this like kernel of goodness in us, this essence of true beauty, the ways that we truly have been faithful to family, faithful to love, faithful to a cause, the ways that we have lived our lives that have made a difference. And this is what is eternal. This is what is lasting. And this is what this practice is about today. So I'm going to invite you to get yourself a little bit comfortable. If you want to lay down on your bed, you can. That'd be great. Or the floor. That's another great place. Or your yoga mat. That's another great place. Maybe it's a beautiful sunny day and you want to get in some raise before any of the season of winter comes upon us too much, and you might want to take your yoga mat and head outside. However you want to get comfortable right now. If you are sitting up, I'm just going to invite you to put your feet flat on the earth. We're going to stay grounded here in the earth. You can close your eyes because that can help us focus more, and we're turning inward. Let's take a deep breath. From your belly, pushing the air out, holding it at the rise of that wave before you release it slowly. One more deep breath. Release it slowly. Now I'm going to invite us into a moment of silence in which I'm asking you to either bring to mind that individual you want to remember, the person from your life who has passed away, who has died, or listen for somebody that you want to bring and have as a part of this meditation. If you're brave and want to go for it, maybe it is because there needs to be some repair in your relationship. Or maybe you just want to go with your favorite auntie who you just really want to celebrate right now. Bring that woman to mind, whoever was somebody that we can hold in our hearts and in our minds during this part of our meditation today. So take another deep breath and invite that person, maybe their face or their name, to materialize for you. We say that we commune with all the saints and all the souls, and so you might even invite them to come and commune with you now in a time that can be truly honoring of them and helpful and healing for you. In the stillness, as this person has either come to you, literally you might be having a felt presence, a felt experience of their being, or perhaps you are just remembering them, a way that we stay alive in the hearts and minds of our loved ones. We remember them. I'd like you to gaze upon their face, if you can, inwardly. And if you can't remember their face, or you never knew what their face looked like, then allow that to arise in your imagination. Maybe there's a photograph that you can remember the photograph at least. Maybe it's difficult for you to visualize in this way, and so perhaps you could listen for what that person sounded like. Maybe the sound of their voice, the sound of their laughter, the sound of them cheering you on at your weekend event, your game or your meet or your match or your concert. I invite you to call to mind a time that was a sweet, sweet experience for you with this person, a precious moment that you had with this person. Notice what you really loved about those moments with this person. And in the quiet, perhaps inwardly, you can tell this person, this is what I really loved and admired about you in these moments that we shared together. If this is somebody we knew well, with whom we spent much of our time in our lives, it's entirely possible that there were moments that didn't feel so precious, that were not as honoring of you as you would have liked, that were not their finest moments. And in this time, I'm going to ask you to imagine that those experiences are just burning away. Just let the fire of transformation burn those away, burn those out of your mind. Those are things from which we need healing. Those are things this beautiful soul needs release as well from those moments and experiences. That any of the fraying between you, any of the franticness between you is able to be truly released. Not because it excuses any reprehensible behavior, but just because it's time for that to be done. It's time for you to be free of that. It's time for that soul to be free of the guilt of that. I invite you to return to that precious moment with this person. The moment that you really valued, the moment that you truly want to remember. In this moment, I invite you to name aloud to this person, which you might do in the quiet spaces of your heart, or you can do aloud wherever you are. Name to this person, this being, what you truly have appreciated of them. Maybe it was the way that they would just get so excited when you walked in the room. Maybe it was the way they told you a joke, especially on those days when you felt really down. Maybe it was the way they were so giving, freely expressing their love to you, showering you with attention, celebrating who you were, who you are, whatever it might be. Let this being know how much you appreciate them for who they have been, the impact that they have had on your life. And if it's too hard to see anything but the challenges, then give thanks that those challenges do not continue between the two of you. even if the effects of the challenges continue. The experience of the actual challenge with you and them, we want to let that go. That might be the first step in healing. The actual effects of the challenges between you all. If you've had that opportunity to name aloud or in the space of your heart those qualities or things that you have really loved about this person, I want you to imagine those growing bigger, almost like seeing those inscribed upon their heart, on their chest. So it might say giving, or it might say celebratory, or it might say patient. It might say encouraging. The best parts of this person. This is the way we want to see this person. This is the core essence, the immortal diamond of them that we want to celebrate right now. Just let everything else blow away. The chaff just blow away with the wind. If you're blocked in this exercise, then I invite you to take a deep breath, ground yourself back in your body, give it another try. Release slowly. Release that breath slowly. If you have tears streaming down your cheeks, it's okay. It's just a sign of the love that is between you, or even the love that you long to have between the two of you, but maybe never had. If you could imagine yourself face to face with this being right now, this loved one of yours, and if you're brave and you're willing, I invite you to give a message to this loved one, especially that for which you are thankful, of which you're grateful. The aspects about them that you want to carry with you from these moments. And when you're complete, and if you're brave, perhaps you're willing to let this individual, this being, speak back to you, give you a message that you might need to hear right now. And in just a moment, I'm going to bring us back to our awareness of our togetherness here in Pause for Peace. So if there's anything else you want to express to this being, anything you want to visualize or hear or see or feel, go ahead now and be open to that moment with them. You might even want to visualize yourself bowing to this being, thanking them so much for showing up for you today. And then we want to release this being. Release them from our consciousness, at least a little bit right now. Release them from the moments of this meditation. Send them on their way with great gratitude. You might even want to say farewell, not goodbye, but farewell until I see you again. When you're ready, I invite you to come back to yourself now. You want to place your palms on your knees. It's a way to get grounded back in your body and in this present moment. And you can open your eyes when you're ready as well. This would be a great experience to journal about a little bit. Maybe it was really hard for you. Maybe it was something that is long overdue. But I hope you have experienced it as a time to see the saintliness of your loved one. Because no pope has to declare that your saint is a loved one, that your loved one is a saint. No pope needs to declare that. You yourself can celebrate the saintliness, the way that your loved one did make a difference in your life for good. We can let go of the challenge that they might have caused for us, or the challenges we had between one another. Or we might celebrate those as well, knowing that those challenges have made us who we are. The challenge that we might have had with a particular personality in our past might actually have prepared us for a challenge we have with somebody at work, or maybe have made us a more persevering personality, or maybe have made us a more patient person, whatever it might be. The challenges we might have experienced with somebody might have actually made us an open person that is accepting of all people. And what a gift that is to the world. Friends, thanks so much for joining me here today for this celebration of All Saints and All Souls, and for this little turning into the time of November and all that is going to come for so many of us. This is a time I want to remind you to stay diligent in your daily practices. Continue to turn inward. Continue to make peace in and outside the world, in your inner world, outside in the world around you. There's so much division that we hear about all of the time, but each one of us can commit to keeping ourselves undivided and to being undivided with all beings, because we truly are always connected, interrelated with all things. Blessings for the week ahead. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself calm, and pause always for a little moment of peace.